Well, we'll get to that part later. Let's start off by reviewing the story of the Ring of Gyges and its correlation to one of my favorite series of all time, The Lord of the Rings. I want to make this story easier to visualize and associate it with a common interest of others. The Ring of Gyges is a mythical artifact that Plato mentions in the Republic Book 2. It poses the questions of, are you a decent person? What would happen if we all gain incredible power? Are humans inherently selfish, or are we inherently compassionate? A character, Glaucon, challenges Socrates when they're discussing the topic of what is justice. Glaucon replied using ideas Thrasymachus had that show that justice is in the interest of the stronger or that might is right. So Glaucon used the story of Gyges as an example to prove his ideas of whether humans lean towards injustice or justice. I will start off by telling Glaucon's story of the ring and go into depth of the connections it can make in our lifetime, as well as seeing where you can find some answers to those questions. Suppose that there were two such magic rings, and the just one put on one of them, and the unjust the other. No man could be imagined to be of such an iron nature that he would stand fast in justice. No man would keep his hands off what was not his own when he could safely take what he liked out of the market, or go into any house and lie with anyone at his pleasure, or kill or release from prison whom he would, and in all respects be like a god among men. Then the actions of the just would be the actions of the unjust. They would both come out at last to the same point. And at this we may truly affirm to be a great proof that a man is just, not willingly, or because he thinks that justice is any good to him individually, but out of necessity. For wherever anyone thinks that he can safely be unjust, there he is unjust. For all men believe in their hearts that injustice is far more profitable to the individual than justice, and he who argues as I have been supposing will say that they are right. If you could imagine anyone obtaining this power of becoming invisible, and never doing anything wrong, or touching what was one another's, he would be thought by the lookers-on as the most wretched idiot, although they would praise him to one another's face, and keep up appearance with one another, from a fear that they too might suffer injustice. Breaking this down, basically everyone in power would act unjust, even those who are morally right, so the good person would act the same as the unjust one. Glaucon states that by nature, humans are evil and selfish. Justice is deemed as a consequential good, so it's only valued for its beneficial consequences. This led to people only being just because of the benefits they reap. Doing injustice is good naturally, and the laws made are what make it seem as if they are wrong, and make you act against this injustice. The only reason we do the right thing is because we have to. Now if a man came into possession of such a ring, claims Glaucon, he would use it to do exactly what the unjust man does. Kill his enemies, have sex with anyone he fancied, get his friends out of danger, and all with impunity. This may sound like a novel and a movie that we have all known and loved, and yes, that is Lord of the Rings. In Middle-earth, there are few figures who can actually resist the temptation of the ring, like Tom Bombadil. When he put it on, he remained visible and decided to stay with his family instead of succumbing to the corruption, thus being a direct counter to the idea of Glaucon. Tom Bombadil supports Socrates' theory that moral virtue is inherent and independent of the circumstance. It could be that some people are just morally good and decide that power and corruption isn't the way to live a just life. Take Frodo, for example. He withheld the corruption of the ring for some amount of time, but he did have moments where you could sense that this hobbit might not be as pure-hearted as most thought. His perseverance was mostly due to Samwise, but that's an argument for a different day. Gandalf couldn't take the ring, as he is an Istari, which is a wizard that is also partially angel. So by having this power, he could foresee his demise, and that he would cause destruction due to the subconscious desire for power. This proves why men in the story are the most greedy, because those are the ones wanting to dominate other races. Even in the afterlife, the 8 men, or the ring race, are still searching for power and dominance, as they believe this will help Sauron rule Middle-earth, as well as the possibility to commit all their selfish desires for them. So in theory, all races, all genders, and all people are no different from Sauron. The only difference was the opportunity to gain the Ring of Power. Glaucon has a strong point about individuals being inherently selfish and power-driven, especially when talking about today's society. Glaucon has a very realistic approach to selfishness and the weakness all humans endure. The Ring of Gyges can help explain why humans want to advance before the rest, even at the risk of mass destruction. This only leaves me with some lingering questions, and those would be, what would you do if you had the Ring of Gyges? Would you be just, or would you indulge in the power and act selfishly?